the workouts, right? You're going to be wondering like, okay, do I do exactly what I'm being told here? Now it's really tough to get a personal training program together for somebody when I'm not actually there. Right? And I've been a personal trainer for some time, not too bad at it, right? But there's a reason why the personal is before the word trainer. So if you do want programming or something like that, some more intimate care as far as your workouts go, reach out to me. There's a link in the email. Each email has a way to reach out to me, get on a free call, and we can talk about what that may look like. Now, there's some principles that will apply to everyone, especially the people that are in this program. For instance, we want to stay away from high impact stuff, right? Chances are you're not 15 years old and your bones aren't made of rubber any longer, right? We're probably on the other side of 30, bad side. And it's important not to go out and get ourselves banged up, get hurt. Like I wouldn't recommend that any of these workouts involve like high, intense sports. I mean, maybe you do play basketball every week, or that would be great. But for this program, you don't have to do that. Low impact is ideal because we can continue the progress. We won't feel so banged up and sore and beat down that we'll still show up the next day, because this is important. If you go out and kill yourself, you're not going to feel like doing it the next day. You may not feel like it anyway, but uh, if you're hurt and you're like in pain, it's a tough call. So low impact, right? This is mountain climbers and push-ups, sit-ups, lifting weights slowly in a controlled environment. You don't want to be doing Olympic lifting, we're not going to do clean and jerk, right? Like those types of workouts are they're high level and they're complex, and I don't recommend it at this point in time. And at this point in time, we're just getting the movement. Focus on that. Focus on low intense movement. You don't want to be pounding the pavement if you're going to pay the price the next day. So it's low impact movements are ideal, right? And now another principle in addition to that is the work to rest ratio. Uh, if you're starting out and you haven't been doing shit for months, years, whatever, start with a high level of rest to work ratio. What does that mean? Like, consider this, you rest for 2 minutes and then you work out for 30 seconds to a minute, right? That might be, you jog to the street sign for 15 seconds and then you walk for a minute, right? And then you jog to the next street sign for 15 seconds and then you walk for a minute. Or like me and my journey, as I share with a lot of people, I would do jumping jacks. This is where I started, and very humbly, 3 minutes was the entire time I was shooting for. That being said, I would do 30 seconds of jumping jacks, 1 minute of rest, right? So the ratio is 2-1. You rest twice as long as you work. And then so in time, what you'll do is you'll do a 1-1. So then it'll be 1 minute to rest, 1 minute to work ratio, or 30 seconds to running to 30 seconds to resting, right? So, and you can do this two ways. You can either shrink the amount of rest time that you have in between working or exercising or moving, or you can increase the amount of work time. So you can increase the amount of time that you run compared to the time that you rest. And in time, that ratio will be 2-1 work to rest. So you would, run for 3 minutes and rest for 1 minute, run for 3 minutes, rest for 1 minute. And you see this ratio is something that you can use as a tool to help make progress more achievable, right? I think, speaking of progress, progressive overload. Progressive overload is a principle in exercise that it's increasing the difficulty, right? It's real simple with dumbbells. You look at them and you see, well, I can't pick up a 50, but I can pick up a 5. So you pick up a 5 and you're like, well, damn, that's pretty easy. Maybe I'll try 15. And you're like, oh, 15 is pretty good. And I'm moving, I'm working. Okay. Now you wouldn't do 15 forever. That wouldn't make much sense. You're not growing. So progressive overload would be like, okay, you do something that's kind of hard. You lift the 15 and then you're like, okay, but I can do 15 now like a bunch of times. It's too easy, right? And then you just increase the weight, right? But there are different ways to progress the overload or the difficulty, right? You could do the same 15, but now you do, instead of 20 reps, you do 100 reps, right? So there's different ways to do it. You can increase the amount of resistance, that's the weight, or the amount of time, right? So that's how long you do it for, or you can increase it the amount of times that you do it, right? So you can increase the weight, you can increase the repetitions that you do, or you can increase the amount of time that you do it for. Three different ways for progressive overload. Now, this last portion of the workouts is add resistance. Resistance is your friend in time because it builds muscle and also bone density. And this is going to help you in the latter part of your life. If you want to be able to walk and move around and wipe your own ass and all that stuff when you're old, strength training is imperative, right? And it doesn't mean like 100 pounds or 200 pounds. No, that is not what is necessary. It's just some resistance outside of yourself. You've got to add some kind of layer of difficulty, and we do that typically by adding weight. But there's different, you could put like say you go for a walk, but now you go for a walk with a backpack on, and in that backpack you've got who knows what, books, groceries, doesn't matter. They actually call it rucking, by the way. So you put on a backpack, and now that walk has become more difficult, and you're carrying a load, you're carrying resistance. And so there's all different kinds of ways to get this done in these workouts. And so I don't want anybody to feel intimidated, because it's about where you are and then making it slightly harder each day. And in doing so, you become stronger. That's the name of the game.